Been doing that over the past 3, 4, 5 years anyway. I mean, we've gone into areas, cities that potentially some Germans haven't even heard of yet. Because we do have a lot of these. It's amazing how many cities over 100,000 inhabitants we have. It's over 135, which is quite amazing that there's that many. And no, I haven't been to all of them either. But no, we will go into B. We'll look at Nuremberg, we'll look at Hanover, we'll look at Karlsruhe, Mannheim, Heidelberg, Freiburg, Münster, the university, as Marcus was already saying, where you go into, I mean, we've invested in Austin, in Dallas, just to see what kind of mix we look at, where there's a good university, a good highly qualified structure of employees. These locations really work very nicely for us because we've got a big asset management company as well. We're very local with the partners there. We've been in these markets for 20, 30 years already. We know what to expect. We know how to lease. We know what our expectations in the underwriting is. And we don't over-exaggerate any kind of a growth potential because you don't really have it there. Yeah? You're always somewhere between 10 and 12 euros, and that's a flat line. Yeah? You make up 13, 15 if you're lucky, but it's a flat line, and you just have to price that in the beginning, even more importantly, because you can't play a growth curve down the line like you can in the big 5 or 7. But we feel very comfortable there. But then again, that product has become extremely expensive. I mean, there's a city out there, I don't know if anybody's heard of it, it's called Osnabrück. I love this example. It's called Osnabrück. There's actually 2 of them, but I'm talking about the slightly bigger one, which isn't very big. And it's Osnabrück, and we're looking at an asset which wasn't completed, 50% lease, retail space in the bottom, the office wasn't fully leased, and they were asking for a multiplier of 18. Now that's, what is that, 5.25 or something? Mm-hmm. Welcome to Germany. And that's in a city of 110,000 inhabitants. 5.25. Now that's where we are in pricing in realistic terms, and that's sentiment. They're not going to get it. I desperately hope they're not going to get that pricing, but it's the expectations out there. Yeah, so you've got to maneuver that kind of we bought something in Bremen, which isn't exactly the economic powerhouse of Germany, to say the least. The best thing about them used to be their football club, and you buy something there, and you're sub 6% as well. Yeah, very much so. You're sub 5.5, and that's just the realistic scenario out there, and the product, there isn't a lot of it there to invest into. So it'll be real, very interesting to see how all that pile of money, if it does commit to the German market, where it will find its niche and be able to be deployed.
And I think what you have to keep in mind when you look at these smaller cities, you're competing with a different breed of investors at the same time. You have a lot of family offices and high net worth individuals in these smaller cities. And they still think 5.25 is an attractive return to compare to what I get on the bank, and they are not they don't have the high staff and machinery behind it that they have to.
And your seller is as well. So they like to have a German buyer. Then so it becomes a local market. It always does. But that's always the case. Being a European and a global investor, trust me, we're not going to get the product in the U.S. that I'm sure has gone well, even though it's a bit transparent, but you always don't get the ideal stuff if you're the international investor. Because by the time you get it, 3 other locals have looked at it and said, nah.
We'll leave it to the internationals.
Yeah. I mean, that's the reality behind it. It's still good. If it still makes sense for us, I'm happy with that. Yeah, I don't mind being the guy. How could you have done that? And the more you do in these markets, the more you get to know that. But you have to get into these markets. It's not something you do from today to tomorrow. So they're going to partner up. They'll find somebody, and hopefully they will commit. So there's nothing wrong with putting a big liquidity into these markets. It just needs to be priced in realistically, and it needs to have a movement. Because the good thing is, they're going to put it all in. They're all going to take it back out in 10, 15 years' time again. And we're still going to be around and then take advantage of that again.